Good morning everyone. Welcome to your social class. This is your social teacher Venkatratnam. Tell me first, how are you all? Hoping? Good and healthy. Happy and healthy. Very good. See, as I took long time to prepare a video. Am I correct or not? Yes. See, that's why I'm speed up. I'm preparing my videos very fast. See, before starting the lesson, I would like to tell you one thing, children. That is, subscribing is very important. If you subscribe once, whatever videos I'm going to prepare, you will get the notification so that you can watch every video, children. So how to subscribe, I will show you at the last of this video. Yes, let us come to our social class. Right. See, previously 3 videos I have prepared. Now I'm going to start a new chapter from history part. New kings and kingdoms. Right, come to the part. See, new kings and kingdoms were, in those times, 7th century, new kingdoms were emerged. Under that, few major kingdoms were emerged between 7th and 12th centuries. Between 7th and 12th centuries. What were the major kingdoms? Gujrata, Pratiharas, Rashtrakutas, Palas and Cholas. These were the major kingdoms were emerged in India. And one of the most important place, that is Kannauj. I will show in the video, children. Next to map pointing, I will show where is Kannauj located. And that was a powerful place where every king was behind that to capture that area. Right. Now, in those times, under king, many landlords and very strong warriors were present. Strong warriors. And these landlords and major warriors become so strong. And here, king was treated them, acknowledged them as subordinates or samantas. Usually we are saying them Samanta Raju. Understand? Those samantas were as landlords and warriors. And king is expecting some gift or some wealth from these landlords and warriors. Right. Slowly what happened, warriors and landlords, slowly they strengthened their background. They strengthened their warfare. They strengthened their wealth. Slowly they become stronger in those areas. Then themselves declared as Mahasamantas and Mahamandaleshwar. What they declared themselves? Mahasamantas and Mahamandaleshwar. Understand? Mahamandaleshwar is nothing but very strong person of those areas, those regions. Right. So themselves they declared. And few under that, few landlords, either warrior, few themselves they declared that independence from their king. So then itself there is no Samanta's place. They become king in those areas. Under that, Danti Durga belongs to Rashtrakutas. Rashtrakuta is present where? In Deccan area. Okay, actually Danti Durga was Samantas of Chalukyas. See, Chalukyas kingdom dynasty is very big dynasty. Okay, and Danti Durga was Samantas of Chalukya, working under them. But fine, when he became very stronger, he declared himself as a king. He overthrew Chalukyas and he captured his kingdom. And finally, he did Hiranyagarbha. What is the Hiranyagarbha, children? Hiranyagarbha is it's a ritual. It's a special ritual. It's a special yaga, we can say that. So this ritual is make the non-kshatriya into kshatriya. If a person is treating this or doing this ritual, he is treating as kshatriya. Understand? So Hiranyagarbha is nothing but non-Brahmins. Under that way, Kadambari Mayura Sharma and Harichandra These two also non-Kshatriyas. Actually Brahmins those were. Brahmins children. Even Damti Durga also Brahmin. Kadamba Mayura Sharma and Harichandra. These two also non-Kshatriyas. So these two also they did the same ritual. Hiranyagarbha, and they successfully run their kingdom. Actually they belongs to Kadambara Mayuraksha belongs to Karnataka place, as well as Harichandra is captured Rajasthan. These three areas non-Kshatriyas. After doing this ritual successfully they rule their region. Usually Brahmins are what their profession, doing yagnas, yagas, pujas in temples. Okay, usually they are called as Paurohityam or Archakatvam at temples, and they give up their professional works and they enter into the administration system. Prashasti composed by trained Brahmins who were occasionally helped in administration. So kings often rewarded Brahmins by grant of lands. These records on copper plates which were given to those received the land. Are you seeing this picture, children? And this is a set of copper plates recording a grant of land made by the ruler in 9th century. Obviously these were written in Sanskrit as well as Tamil. Are you observing the ring? The ring, are you observing? And here I will show you. Yes, this is ring. Okay, this ring, the ring holding the plates together is secured with the royal seal to indicate that is an authentic document. Do you know what they were written on the plates? Right. So this culture most continuously used in South India, that is in Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu by Cholas. And here they demarcated boundaries of land by making earthen embankment as well as by planting thorn bushes. And these were the boundaries which land given by kings to Brahmins. Next, these areas are whatever covered this area. For example, fruit bearing trees, water, land, gardens, orchard trees, well, open space, pasture and villages, even forest, platform, canals, rivers, etc. are belongs to that Brahmin. And he has the right to collect the taxes from the people. And even he can maintain law and order in those areas also. And he has the right to use the money, the tax money, to build the large rooms and double rooms, whatever he want. And some amount he has to use for development of the area and agriculture purpose. For example, irrigation facilities must be provided to the farmers. Second thing is they should not waste the water. And two, they should construct the embankment to control the wastewater. Prashasti. What is Prashasti? Prashasti is nothing but invocation part of inscription. What is an invocation meaning first? Invocation is nothing but welcoming. Welcoming the person or starting sentences of inscriptions. What is the inscriptions? So inscription is nothing but it's a writing on rocks or pillars or any walls. This inscription system was invented or started by Great Ashoka, King Great Ashoka, and he started, actually he introduced the system, inscription system. Okay, come to the point. What is this Prashasti is actually saying? Prashasti is saying that the greatness of the king and he belongs to which period and what were his achievements and who's their preceders and successor and what about their families. So like that, meanwhile the pricing of king we can see in inscriptions. Right. See, most probably many inscriptions are praising a lot of kings. Under that, Nagabhattas. Nagabhatta is a great king. Okay, and his inscription found in Gwalior. Gwalior is a place present in Madhya Pradesh. Understand? He's a great king and he succeeded Andhra, Saindhara, Vidarbha, Kalinga as well as Kanauj. And all these kings were fell before him when he was prince. Prince means younger one. He did not become a great king. It's a prince. When he was a prince, in early age, all these kings were fell before him. What a grateful person he was. What a strong person he was. Right. And next, and even this Gwalior inscription also praising one. But what was that different here? Kalhana is a great writer. He is a poet as well as great writer and belongs to Kashmir kings. Actually, what he did differently, Kalhana is given many inscriptions which are showing the evidences. What evidences he showed? The evidences are nothing but inscriptions. First one, documents, eyewitness and accounts. All these four, based on four witness, he given inscriptions to the about king. Right. And he, under his writing, the great king, Kashmir kings, he written Rajatarangini. Rajatarangini is a book chit. Kalhana written Rajatarangini and completely it is related to Kashmir kings. Kashmir kings. And what is the evidence? These are the evidence, inscriptions, documents, eyewitness and even accounts. Everything is recorded, documented, evidences. Understand? And one more thing is, he also praising in his Rajatarangini Kashmir kings and he also criticized the king. Not only praising, he also criticizing the kings and whose administration is not good, whose policies were not good and what were the wrongs were going on his administration. So like that he criticized kings and even the criticize also shown on inscriptions. Right. Before what we said, Nagabhatta's inscription is praising one and starting Prashasti is also praising one. But when Kalhana written, criticizing also. That is a difference between Kalhana's inscriptions and other inscriptions. Right. Next, come to the administration. See, we know, as I said, big kingdoms, Rashtrakutas, Palas, and Charmanas, Gurjara, Pratiharas. All these major kingdoms were emerged. And what were their administration? How their administration will be there? When these warriors, landlords become very stronger and they are saying, giving very strong sounding, very big sounding or what we can say, huge sounding titles they given by themselves. Have you seen old films? In old films, we can see that when king was entered to the court, Rajadi Raja, Raja Martanda, Raja Gambira. So this kind of high sounding titles given to king. Have you heard that? The same manner, here also they are giving high sounding titles to king. That is Maharaja, Adhiraja and Tribhuwana Chakravarti. These two are high sounding titles given to king. Tribhuwana Chakravarti means he was the head of 3 kingdoms. Right. Maharajadi Raja. So he is a lord on kings. He is a head of other kings. Understand? So like that they are giving high sounding titles to them. And these kings were related. I mean those were shared their power with the landlords, traders and business persons. Okay, and here actually what kingdom is very big area and many works over there. Many kind of people were there, professionals will be there. Understand? So in those time the tax collection is different. Understand? So different manner. Now we are giving taxes in the same manner, same money. Based on the current bill, water bill, house bill, we are paying. But in those times, how they are collecting taxes based on the profession. For example, you are a peasant. Peasant, how they are giving money, I mean paying taxes. Actually, they thought that complete this land is belongs to king. So we have to give the rent to the land. That is our responsibility. They thought like that, they are paying a revenue, land revenue to king. Next, porter prepare. Porters, those who are preparing parts, these porters are giving some count of parts as a tax manner to king. And carpenter, for example, I am saying carpenter. So he not giving, there is no need to money matters. He used to prepare some wooden furniture to king. It's a tax. And suppose you are a tribal, some forest products you have to pay as a tax manner. Like that, based on the profession, the person have to pay the tax to the king. Understand? So different professions will be there, and different kind of taxes they are collected, used to collected from the people. And this tax collection, a special kind of recruitment over there. This recruitment maybe belongs to a powerful person, okay, powerful families. From those reasons, those who are very powerful are maybe based on economical or based on any strength then. Understand? Very big families or powerful families are close relatives of kings. Based on these qualities, they used to select, they used to recruit the tax collectors to collect the tax from each and every person in the kingdom. And actually what they will do with the money? To run the government successfully, they needed money. Nowadays we also collecting, our government also collecting different kinds of taxes. We also paying now. Am I correct or not? So because money is very important to run the government. So like that, in those times they collected taxes from the people, and this money they used to construct the fort. The fort, the kingdom, managing the kingdom and strengthening their warfare, strengthening their soldiers, because a king must be very stronger always. Anytime other king may attack them, he must be ready. When he must be ready, when he become very stronger. Have you seen Bahubali movies, children? How they become very stronger? Yes, with the knowledge. With very little soldiers, they killed complete. What kind of kingdom? Kalakeya kingdom. Did you remember or not? Yes, those are 1 lakh soldiers, and they Bahubali king has only 25,000 soldiers. These 25,000 killed 1 lakh people. What a great thing. Understand? It's nothing but strength of the person, strength of the mentality. Understand? So that is why every king would spend huge money for their war, for their soldiers' development. Understand? Okay. Look at the map. So here major kingdoms were spread over. Chahmanas are present in Rajasthan, Gujrara Pratiharas in Madhya Pradesh, Rashtrakutas in Karnataka and half of Maharashtra, Cholas are present in Tamil Nadu, Palas were present in West Bengal. These were the big dynasties or major dynasties between 7th and 12th centuries. Are you observing here Kanauj? The kingdom Kanauj. This was very powerful kingdom in those days. So that's why remaining all these kings were fought together to get the authority over Kanauj. So here especially 3 kingdoms, 3 kings of the country, of the kingdoms, Gujara Pratiharas, Rashtrakutas, Palas. Gujara Pratihara, Palas and Rashtrakuta. These 3 areas kings were fought together to get the control over Kanauj. So that's why it's called as a tripartite struggle and said by historians. Tripartite struggle. And especially Chahmanas. Chahmanas, also called as Chauhans. These people were present in a region of Delhi and Ajmer. These were very powerful persons, but opposed by Chalukyas and Gahadwals. And here, the best known person of Chahmanas were Prithviraj III. Prithviraj III was defeated an Afghan ruler named Sultan Muhammad Ghori in 1191 AD. But the next year, means 1192 AD, he was lost his life. Understand? So all these of kingdoms of India. Next, come to the Afghan people. One person I already said you, that is Muhammad Ghori. Before him, one more Afghan person came to India. Children, do you know that India ruled by many foreign rulers like Arabs, Afghans, Turks, Mongolians, and as well as Britishers also. We know that. Under that, Afghans, especially first person Muhammad Ghazni, Sultan Muhammad Ghazni, a famous person. So actually, the person was not famous before that. Do you know, he every time he want to attack, obviously the kings wanted to spread his kingdom very big. That is why they attack other kingdom and occupy those areas so that they expand their kingdom. Like that, he also extended his kingdom in Central Asia. Then he focused on India, because once upon a time India was a prosperous country of the world, children. Do you know that? And he focused on our prosperity and wealth. Then he started attacking continuously on India. Every year, do you know? And it is not wrong, children. 17 times. Will you accept that? 17 times continuously he attacked an Indian temple, especially because in those time our Indian kings were kept most wealth in temples. So here, every time he attacked on temples and completely captured the wealth there and sending his kingdom. And he became very stronger. And famous attack was 17th attack on India, 17th time. That is, he came to India and he attacked on Somnath temple. Which temple, children? Somnath temple, which is present in Gujarat. And here, completely he destroyed the temple and he completely captured the wealth from there. Most of the wealth Muhammad carried away, and he created a splendid capital city at Ghazni. See, he completely captured our temples and wealth, and additionally he damaged our temple. And especially he was so interested in finding out the opinion of people. And what about the people, what they are talking and how the people work. Very enthusiastically, he wanted to know about people. So that is why he recruited a writer or poet, Al-Biruni. He created a poet, Al-Biruni. This Al-Biruni was Arab scholar, and he written a book, Al-Biruni. What book? Al-Biruni, about Indian people, how the Muhammad Ghazni was attacked and how he captured the Indian wealth, everything. But most probably these people are covering only good things, children, not minus points, right? So he written Kitab al-Hind regarding Sultan Muhammad Ghazni, and he consulted Sanskrit scholars to prepare this account. So that's all, children. Today's part A under New Kings and Kingdoms is over. So I will meet you with the next video, part B, so that I can conclude this lesson. So before that, I would like to show how to subscribe my video. Are you watching? Are you watching this? Here under my video you can see the red color title. So it is subscribe. You have to touch it. Okay. So after touching that you can see the bell icon. Are you seeing? Are you seeing? I will show you. Are you seeing? Now you have to touch bell icon and you must be touch again all. So this is nothing but subscribing, children. Okay, I hope you can get an idea. So you everyone who is going to watch my videos, please subscribe my videos so that you can get the notification whatever videos I am going to prepare that. Understand? Thank you.